What's up, guys? What kind of road trip would it be if I didn't have to change brakes and rotors 2 days before we go on a 10-hour drive? That leaves us with today's video. We are going to remove and replace brake pads on the front and then pads and rotors on the rear. I'm going to take the rotors off the front and get them resurfaced. I'll show you the fronts first and then I'll show you the rear. I was going to go with OEM, but just to save a little money, I went with OE style replacement from Napa. Wasn't too bad. I did get ceramic pads, and altogether I think it was like $240 or $210 or so for the rotors and pads. What we got here is the silent guard. It says OE matched, quiet functioning. But here we go. Here's part numbers for you. It's a little faded on that one. And then for rotors, these are the rear rotors. All right, to do a full brake job, you're going to want a 17mm wrench, a 12 and a 14. For my 12, I like to use this one because there's some hard to get bolts, an assortment of extensions, a ratchet, a 12, a 14, and a 17 socket, 21 for your lug nuts. I like to use PB Blaster when I need it. You're gonna need a number 3 Phillips head, a big one, to get the rotors off, assortment of pry bars and a flathead, some scrubs if you wanna clean up before you do the install, flashlight, hammer, and then, as always, impact wrench really helps, but you don't need it. That's what I can remember from using. It wasn't too big of a job, and yeah, let's get to it. I absolutely hate these locks. I got rid of all of them. I have a spare lug nut in the trunk because I went to the standard style. Vanilla, come here. Hello. Whoa. Hello. Hello. Okay. Go get her. Alright, so I got it off. There's a bolt back here, and it's a 17 like most vehicles. Same with down here. Let me show you guys. So here's your caliper. You're going to want to take off this bolt here, because that's what holds your caliper over this rotor here. There's going to be one on the bottom, same spot. So we're taking off this bolt here, and then your lower one is right here, and they should both be 17mm, and then you'll be able to slip the caliper off. So I'll demonstrate that. Alright, so what I like to do is put a wrench on it, figure out which way is left and loose. There we go. Top one is loose. You can get some like PB Blaster or something, some Croil, and that'll help break it loose. There we go. So I got them both loose. Take this lower one off. Try and take this upper one off if I can. And you can like wiggle the caliper while you're loosening this to help it come out easy. Otherwise the weight of the caliper will keep the bolt filling tight. And we have washers, one washer on each bolt. So I'm gonna pull the caliper off. There we go. Oh. And you don't want to rest you don't want to let it hang. I heard you can cause damage, but I've done it a lot and it hasn't so far, but you guys don't do it. So I noticed right here, I'll show you guys. Looks like my front pads are really good, except do you see that crack? Oh, that's actually the wear mark. So these are really good actually. I'm going to measure up the new ones, see if I even need to put new ones on. And the rotor seems fine, but the back is very worn. So we're going to check both fronts and then see where we're going to go with that. Okay. So you can see how thick, let me zoom in for you guys. You see how much thickness is here? I don't have my micrometer here, it's at work. And then you can see this one here. I got the plastic on it still. But it's pretty close here, how thick they are. That one's worn a little bit more, but not by much. So we're going to keep those on. There's no need in replacing them. If you think your rotor might be bad, you can feel the lip here and see if there's a big lip or not. And I'm sure you can find online the specs on how thick this lip is supposed to be. The inside lip too, but usually it's the outside one you can feel easiest. So it looks like the front seem fine. I think I'm going to go ahead and just put those on and get straight to the rear just to save some time. Also, I want to note that I have 85,000 miles on this car, and this is the first brake pads, and they're great. Just like the dealership told me, is the fronts or the brake pads you won't ever have to change for like 150,000 miles or something crazy. But the rear, I'll show you, we'll get back there. It's got a pretty big lip, and I'm pretty sure they're due because it's making noise. So we'll show you that. And to put these back on, it's just going to be the opposite process. You're just going to slide them over. It might be a tight fit. You can use your C-clamp to push it open before you put the pads on. And then you just hold this in position, find your hole in the back, and you just want to wiggle and spin. And you should spin a few times. After you spin a few times, see if you can pull the bolt out. If you can't, it's holding it. And so we'll put this lower one on. And if you do your brakes like this, you won't have to bleed them because I didn't disconnect the line and allow any air in here. The bleeder looks like it's right here. Pretty simple to do. Alright. So I'm going to get 40 bucks back, which is nice. Alright, so here we are at the rear. Smaller caliper, you can see. The brake pads are actually really thick. I'll show them to you. But let's just get to removing this guy here. Alright, so it's a 12 mil for these. Whoa. Give it a slight tap. And I think there's a little tab right here. If I break that off, I can move this out. So I'm gonna tap that out. Okay, so all I had to do was pry this tab off back here, so that way it can pull forward. This tab just went into there, right about here, to hold that in place. So I pulled that off, and I was able to tap the caliper off. Now it looks like I need to take these two Phillips screws. Probably not going to be easy, but we'll try. Let's see what happens. Oop. Probably should have done this before, huh? 100% you want to take these off before you do the caliper, because you can set the brake while you break this loose. Alright, so I'm going to go set my parking brake. Hopefully it's in enough to hold it still. And then I got some PB Blaster if this doesn't work. Nice. Came very easy. I'm going to go do the other side real quick. Beat it loose. There we go. Whew. I really had to hit that hard. I guess you can come from the back and spray some PB Blaster back here while you spin it. Wow, I can't believe it's rusty already. I'm just going to get a brush and kind of brush this rust off real quick, just to prevent issues in the future. Alright, so just take this brush, do a quick knockdown of whatever rust I can. Make sure all your studs are in tight. Alright, now we're going to put the new one on. Actually, before we put the new one, let's go ahead and change these pads. That way, when I'm dealing with the new one, I don't damage it while I'm trying to get these pads out. Usually these pads you just compress out. Let's see how these work. They're so thick I might have an issue getting them out. Ooh. Oh, I see you. Little wire back there. So you can see these pads are 80,000 miles and they're still really thick. I'll show you the brand new ones. So the brand new ones aren't that much thicker. You see the pad? I'll do it down. You see that? Not much thicker. But we're changing it because of some noise in the back and the other rotor is damaged. A rock got stuck in between, or maybe salt or something. So unfortunately we're changing. I have 85,000 miles on this car and the brakes look just amazing. It's crazy. Hybrids are awesome for saving money. There. I got a special tool for the rear brakes. You need to know that this piston is actually twisted. You put a tool on it, righty-tighty, it'll go in. You cannot use a C-clamp, you will damage it. So I'm just rotating it until it goes in. Okay, so now we're putting the new pads in, and these are your little locking spring. You want this pad with the tab down, same thing with the other side, down and towards the piston. And then the 2 button one is going to be out facing you. So you stick the pin in there, in the hole, and then bend it over, so a spring. And there we go. We're going to do it with the other side as well. Alright, so I had to take the one bolt out so I could rotate this, and made it a lot easier to install these with the springs, as you saw. Now I'm going to push it back into place, rotate it where it needs to go, and hopefully there's enough room to slide this sucker back in. Oh, perfect. Now I take my little bolt, it's 14mm, put the sucker back on. Alright, so this is the new tool I bought for the rear calipers. It has 2 for like the 4-prong, and then it's got 3 for the other ones. And you have this spin wheel here. You just spin it to change the size, and it also, when you spin it, changes this side. And then you just put a 3/8 drive ratchet, extension, whatever in there, and just rotate it, twist it in. I might need to twist this one more, hopefully not, because I have it all set up, but we're gonna try it right now. Also, Phillips screws. I'm gonna put a little bit of Loctite. You want to do blue Loctite. If you plan on changing them again, red Loctite, it's gonna suck them in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some Loctite. Alright, so I got this nice and tight. Let's hope the caliper fits over it, or we're gonna have to do some readjusting. Nope. Well, that's unfortunate. We're gonna have to take this sucker back off. Alright, so we popped it back off. We're gonna spin this sucker in. You can see it right there. A little bit more. I was hoping it was in enough. Much better. Alright, so I got this one put together. Looks good. Don't forget to put this clip back in and make sure that it's in that space there, so that way when you pull your e-brake or push your parking brake, it works. If that's not in, this is just going to pull through and it's not going to actually lock up your brake here. So I'm going to tap that in real quick. Just a slight tap. Alright, that's good. Now spin it. Spins good. Once we apply the brake, it'll close itself up. Also, you want to do from what I know, is you want to do a couple hard brakes, help seat the pads and the rotor. So this one's good. I'm gonna go do the other side. Like I said, 85,000 miles. These things are in brand new condition. I don't know, that's still crazy to me how much is left on them. The only reason I'm changing is here in the winter months, I was getting some grinding sound. Wasn't quite sure what it was. If you can see, look at that. Something is in the brake pad and it damaged my rotor. Now it's causing issues. So, all in all, probably about 150 bucks to get everything I need. Alright, so hope this video helps you out. If you think you need to do your brake changes, I thought I needed mine, but only reason is that back left one, and I'm just going to do both back ones at the same time. The front ones would be pretty much the same, except you use a C-clamp like this style here to compress your piston when you put your new pads in, and then it's basically the same thing. Again, you don't need to bleed them because we did not disconnect any brake lines, introducing any air into it. Thanks for watching. I also have another video for the camber issues that I have. I don't know if you've had them, but you see I have this aftermarket control arm here that, or it's a traction arm that lets me adjust camber and toe and all that, so that way I can get a better alignment and have less wear on the tires. So if you want to see that video, check it out. It's on my channel. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, I'll see you guys next time.